The internet is a breeding ground for modern folklore, a digital campfire where new monsters are born. Among the most unsettling of these is a figure known only as the Smiling Man. Unlike ancient legends, his story didn't begin in a forgotten tome or a whispered village tale. It started with a single terrifying post on a late-night forum. The year was 2012. A user, known as Blue_Title, shared an experience he had during one of his routine nighttime walks through a major city. The streets were empty, a quiet canvas for the strange encounter that would unfold. He first noticed a man in the distance, dancing. It wasn't a joyful or rhythmic dance, but a strange, jerky waltz under the lonely glow of a streetlight. The man was tall, dressed in an old, ill-fitting suit. But it wasn't the dance that was disturbing. It was his smile. The witness described it as wide, cartoonish, and utterly devoid of emotion. It was a smile that didn't reach the eyes, which were fixed on the sky. Feeling unnerved, the narrator crossed the street to create distance. When he looked back, the man had stopped dancing. He was now standing perfectly still, 1 foot in the street, directly parallel to him. The smile remained, a fixed gash in the dim light. The narrator began to walk faster, keeping his eyes on the figure. The smiling man didn't move. For a moment, there was relief. But after turning away for just a second, he looked back to find the street empty. The relief was short-lived. He soon heard a sound behind him and turned to see the smiling man, no longer dancing, but running. It was a bizarre, exaggerated tiptoe run, as if from a cartoon, his knees high and his body moving with an unnatural grace. And he was coming closer. The witness ran, his heart pounding. He glanced over his shoulder and saw the man was gone. He kept running, not daring to look back again until he reached the more populated, well-lit main streets. He never saw the smiling man again. This was the original story. A simple, deeply personal account of psychological terror. There was no violence, no gore, just the sheer wrongness of the situation, the silent pursuit, and that horrifying, inexplicable smile. But like all powerful legends, the story grew. The internet took Blue_Title's experience and wove it into a larger, more terrifying mythos. New rules and consequences emerged from the collective imagination. Some stories claim the smiling man is a test. If you see him, you must not show fear. You must not run. You must simply continue on your way. Other, darker versions tell of what happens if he catches you. They say you'll be found the next morning, alive but unable to speak, your jaw dislocated, and your face muscles torn from being forced into a grotesque, permanent smile. The most terrifying variations of the legend say you aren't found at all. There is no body, no trace. Just a lingering echo of a man who danced in the dark until his victim stopped moving. Theories about his identity are rampant. Some connect him to an older piece of American folklore, a cryptid from 1966 known as Indrid Cold, another tall, grinning entity associated with strange occurrences. Others see him as a purely digital ghost, a modern Slender Man, embodying our contemporary fears of urban isolation and the unsettling idea that something deeply inhuman can hide in plain sight, disguised by a simple, terrifying smile.